Sean Spicer, host of the Sean Spicer podcast. And you can not only hear that, you can watch that on YouTube, and you can check him out every single day with old Mark Halpern and the gang over there with the morning meeting. Sean, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Chad. Always good to see you. Thanks for supporting the morning meeting. It's fun every morning. We kick that thing off 9 Eastern, and just I love it because it's like as close as I get to being you. You know, I've always loved talk radio. You get to interact with people in a very real way, and for us, it's a way of having a political discussion, but over Zoom with all these people. So it's fun. If you go to, as you mentioned, my YouTube channel, you can participate there and watch the show in the morning and in the evening. But I love it. I've always loved talk radio, and this is sort of the our attempt at it anyway.
You guys do a great job, and I tell everybody, there's very few things I'll watch. I watch Breaking Points, which I like. I enjoy those guys over there, Sagar and Crystal, and Mark. I love Mark, and you guys do a great job. And the run-up, I tell everybody, and you probably know this, Sean, there's probably nobody more connected in D.C. than Halpern.
Well, he definitely knows a lot of people.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's great. I love it. So let's talk about the immigration. Let's get this on the way for real, man. The immigration, Trump has fixed the border. It's inside of the country now, though, that everybody is focusing on, from lawsuits to the theatrics of being arrested and all of the other things. How are you feeling so far about everything?
So it's an interesting point that you made. So here's my take on all this. I believe you look at the numbers to your initial comments, the border is secure. What that proves to me is two things. Number one, that we were gaslit by Biden in the media that somehow, they couldn't do anything about their open border policies. We know that's completely untrue. And Trump made the border secure when he was first president. Biden undid it, and Trump did it again. But that proves to me that we need – so number one, we're gaslit, which you and I both knew that, and all of your listeners knew that. But the other thing that it proves to me is that we need to codify all of this legislatively. And you talked about, what you watch and you listen to. There's a game show. I don't know that it's still on. But I used to catch a few episodes a couple of years ago where contestants would say things and then they'd have to bank the money, if you know what I mean. And then so I think a couple of and so you would answer a few questions and then bank the money and go back to zero or whatever. But I feel like we need to bank the wins. And what I mean by that is legislatively, Congress needs to get in and say, okay, yes, we did a ton of this through executive order, but we need to codify it in law because we've seen one president secure the border, another president unsecured it, then he came back and secured it again. If there is law in place, then it makes it a lot harder for one president to undo what Trump has done. So my sort of new cause is to get people to understand that we need to get Congress to lock in these immigration wins and make sure that no future president can undo it.
Talking to Sean Spicer. He's got a new podcast out there. Check out the Sean Spicer podcast. YouTube, I'm sure Apple, iTunes, all this stuff. Make sure you jump on that, check it out. Check him out in the morning meeting as well, because it's great. You talk about, and somebody asked, they texted and said, hey, can you ask Sean, when is Congress going to get off their butt? Because I've been saying this. We can sit here. Trump threw a lot of things against the wall, knowing, and you know this, hey, this is going to get to the Supreme Court. This is where it's going to be settled. That's the reality of it. But a vast majority of this, even if it gets blown out, and I think some of it will probably lose in the Supreme Court, Congress has to do their job, win or lose in some of these situations. Otherwise, as good as the executive order is, it can be gone, and you've done nothing. And Congress doesn't seem to want to do anything where their name's attached to something, Sean.
No, and that's right. That's why we need to pressure them. It's to say, you can't just make Trump do all this through executive order. We've got to lock this in. And all of this, so we've got to do the immigration to redo, to look at, I think that there's two pieces of this. There's the border security piece, and then there's the immigration piece that Trump has been dealing with as well. And I think that, who do we want to let in? Who not do we want to? And I think we should have a more meritocracy-based immigration system. We should be thinking about people that make America better and stronger, that want to invest, that want to create jobs, all that kind of stuff. But to your point, it's the spending side, it's the immigration side. We need Congress to do its job. And it's funny because I have people on my show all the time, right? Members of Congress, senators, and I'll ask them, I'll be like, why, every time you guys go out to campaign, you want to say, we're doing this, we did this, etc. And then you make up a bunch of excuses why you didn't get it done. Like, there should be no more excuses this time because, we're at a point now, Chad, where we have a Republican majority in both houses. Yes, some things are a little bit harder in the Senate. I'll give them that. But you guys aren't even trying. And one of my pet projects or pet project peeves, rather, is funding for NPR and PBS. Not because of the ideological piece. Like, a lot of folks on our side talk about, their programming, and I do have a problem with that. But I think just philosophically, why is the government in the news business? We shouldn't be in the news business. Make these big Hollywood liberals fund it if they want it. I don't really care. It's a free country. But when I have members of Congress on the show and I say, why can't you even do the simple stuff? The answer is always, well, there's somebody and there's somebody. And I'm like, that somebody has a name. At some point, call it out. Like, stop making excuses for not getting things done, right? And we're seeing this now with the big, beautiful bill. At some point, if they don't do their job, taxes are going to get raised on everybody. And some of this is just a waste of time, like that should have been solved a long time ago. So I'm with you on this. I think we need to stop allowing them to give us a bunch of excuses and require them to get stuff done.
Talking to Sean Spicers, we talk about, president, all the other good things that are going out there in the world of politics. You talk about the big, beautiful bill. And, our news guy, Ken, and I, we have talked about this. Everything's about the economy. But when it comes to certain things, there's always that third rail, the untouchable, which is the, in particular, Medicare, Medicaid, the Social Security, things like that. We have to deal with these things. But we also know if you don't deal with them right, and you screw up when it comes to Medicare and Medicaid, because there's a lot of, as Steve Bannon said, there's a lot of MAGA people that are on that, and you mess this up, it can cost you. And as you were talking about Mike Johnson, I'm not sure they've got an understanding of what they're trying to do, because it feels like they just talk in circles.
I'm with you. And the thing that's so funny, I did this news hit, contributor over at News Nation, and I was on about an hour ago. And one of the hosts was saying, like, politically, and they were just, I'm not blaming them because she's a really good host. But they were talking about the, quote, cuts to Medicare or Medicaid. And I said, they're not cut. Like, when we're looking at people who shouldn't be receiving the benefits, maybe they're able-bodied, maybe they are illegally in the country. Why is this? Why are we using the word cuts? This to me is so silly because making common sense reform. And Chad, Sunday night, I'm sitting around. I think there was a game that was on, and I don't know why, but suddenly 60 Minutes comes on. And I'm watching the program, and they've got this woman on it. They do an entire segment, 20 minutes of the show is dedicated to this woman saying that there's $750 billion with a B dollars of inappropriate and fraudulent payments being made from the government. This is 60 Minutes. This is CBS. They are no friend to the conservative movement, and yet why? So it's like I feel like at some point you say to the Congress, the target's right there. All you have to do is hit it. And yet it's like, well, but unfortunately we were busy this week and we had to go name a post office. Do your job.
Yeah, they don't like doing their job because it goes back to your name's going to be on, you're going to put your name on something and you may agree with half of it, but there's some stuff in there that because it's so big and robust and junk and that's going to get out, that's going to hurt you. So Congress is supposed to be that one that is above both of them if they're all equal in some ways because it's about the people. But this, man, they don't want that. They've given up their power to the other two branches because they don't want to be decision makers. Yeah.
I mean, I don't, it's funny because in a town where everybody wants power, I would think that people would embrace this, and be like, hey, look, but it's funny to me. Every conversation I have with people on my show, like it's like pass the buck, if you will. Like, oh, it's not my fault. It's so-and-so's fault. And so-and-so's. And I'm like, you can only play that game so many times. It's like the spending thing. Like everyone that I have on, I go, hey, why are we not reducing the size of government more or getting rid of it? Oh, I support that. It's not me that's the problem. No one ever is the problem. It's always somebody else. And you got to say to yourself, well, wait a second. If everybody's in visceral agreement that we need to spend less and we need to do all this, then why doesn't it happen? And the answer, I think, is largely because they don't want to admit the dirty secret that they're part of the problem. There's very few of these guys. Ron Johnson from Wisconsin has been an absolute champion for cutting spending. Roger Marshall's in the same boat. They believe in zero-based budgeting, right, which is how me and you and everyone else in the real world operates. Like, you don't just go, oh, well, we spent, $500 last year, so we just add the cost of living adjustment. Now we spend $550, right? That's not how most people, that's not how businesses operate. It's how Washington operates, and it's crazy.
Crazy indeed. Talking to Sean Spicer. Check out his podcast. You can check it on YouTube. You grab it on iTunes and everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Although I do love, Apple and YouTube.
But go like and subscribe to your YouTube. That's the best thing.
Oh, yeah. And when YouTube, to me, I'm on Rumble, so any of the big folks out there that don't like big tech, I get you. But from a as an independent creator type person now, we really do what we can. We make payroll, put it that way, on YouTube. So that's key.
Tomorrow, they're going to start hearing birthright citizenship. There's a lot of stuff going on in the courts when it comes to immigration. The birthright citizenship is going to be big. And, by the questions themselves and the way that they're being asked, which way you think, you can get a feel of where things are going to go. What's your sense what's going to happen with birthright citizenship?
You know what I love about this question is if you had asked me this a year ago, based on the conventional wisdom, I would say there's no, what do you mean? How do you even, I'm actually just encouraged that the court took it, because so many things that we are told is orthodoxy. You find out, I have a guy named Josh Hammer on my show from time to time. He's with the Article 3 Project, and he's a really, really smart constitutional lawyer and scholar. And I'll throw out these questions, and he'll be like, well, technically, Article 5, and in the case of this, and da-da-da-da. I mean, he's so smart. And the problem that we have, I think, and I know this is off topic, but the same thing is true with tariffs, where all of these media hosts who have never run a business, have no idea, will say consumers pay tariffs. And that's a fact. It's an unequivocal fact. And Christian Welker, I think, or Dana Bash went at Howard Lutnick this weekend. And lo and behold, Sunday night, I see this ad, and I literally recorded it in my living room off the TV because I wanted to play it for my audience. There's an ad from Hyundai that says, at Hyundai, we will never raise the base price. We're going to stick to it, da-da-da. My point is, holy smokes, we were told that there's no, tariffs are paid by consumers, companies don't pay them. And here's Hyundai out there literally saying, we're picking up the tariff, okay? Or the country when they export it, however, but you're not as a consumer. The same thing's true with birthright citizenship. We were told, oh, it's an enshrined right. It can't be touched. Just can't be, because I'm in the media and I know better than everyone else, and I'm smart because I watch Law and Order. But I'm just encouraged, Chad, that the court's actually going to take it. So I don't know. I feel like sometimes when I get questions like this, I start to think to myself, don't be so quick to answer, because these issues aren't as simple as a lot of folks in the media like to make us think they are. So I probably would have answered that question as a non-starter a year ago, and now I'm starting to say, you know what? Maybe there is something there.
We're going to find out. Last question. Melissa McCarthy played you on Saturday Night Live. Were you stoked? I mean, honestly.
I did not think that's where you were going, Chad. I did not think
how awesome was that? I look at that and I think, man, I don't care. If they're making fun of me on Saturday Night Live, then you know what? People know who I am.
All right, I'll tell you a funny story. So it's Super Bowl. It's the night before the Super Bowl. I don't stay up that late. When I was in the White House, I'd go to bed fairly early. We DVR'd the show. I go to church the next day. I had 2 cell phones. One cell phone was my personal one. One was the White House one. The White House one does not, I don't think still to today, permit texting. That's another story. So in my personal phone, I can hear, I have it on silent because I'm in church. and I hear buzz, buzz, buzz. And I get out of church and I look down and it was just text after text. Dude, that was hysterical. And I don't stay up that late, but we have always for like, I don't know, my wife and I, between the two of us, DVR like 600 shows. So Saturday Night Live is one of them. I go back, I stand in my kitchen, I watch it on this tiny little screen, and I'm like, oh my God. And I went out, I literally was flying to the Super Bowl with Mike Pence that night, and Pence and a couple other people were like, dude, that was hysterical. And then I just remember the president looking at me and saying, I don't think that's that funny. And I was like, okay, all right. But the first time that she did it, it was funny. I think it got kind of personal and like really, like it wasn't meant to be funny after that. It was an attempt to be like mean. So I thought the first one was funny. I think the future ones were less so.
It's interesting, no doubt. Look, we're still waiting for all of us to be on Saturday Night Live. It's not happening yet. But Sean, appreciate you coming on, and I'll talk to you again next week, man. Thanks so much, and check out your podcast. Go to the YouTube, like and subscribe there. You can grab it on iTunes and everywhere else. But thanks so much, brother. Appreciate you coming on.
You bet, man. See you soon.
Thanks. Bye.